Hello and welcome to episode 19 of the Little Dynamite Knits podcast. My name is Sarah and I live in Pennsylvania outside of Philadelphia with my husband Brent and our three cats, Gustav, Gracie, and Gertie. And yes, I did have to practice that intro again because it's been a very long time since I've done this. I'm looking at my YouTube channel now and episode 18, the last actual episode that I recorded, I uploaded on November 30th. And then I did 11 episodes of Vlogmas during the month of December. I did 2 or 3 days in each episode, and I haven't done anything since then. And now today it is Saturday, April 4th. So it's been some time. And we'll talk a little bit about why that is before we jump into all the things. I'm not going to talk about everything I've worked on since then. I will share just some photos of some finished objects that have been completed since the last time I shared. There's probably going to be a lot of that yawning during the episode. I have a lot of spinning to share and heavy garment knitting, including what I'm wearing. So let's get into it. So yeah, why has it been so long? Well, the first reason is that I don't do this on a schedule. I do it when I feel like it. And honestly, I haven't felt like it for a few very specific reasons. So January and February were a little tough. Full transparency, honesty, I wasn't doing so great during January and February. Not full-blown, like a full depressive episode, I don't think, but definitely a lack of interest in doing a lot of things. And so the short version of why that is, well, as short as I can make it. One, work. I talked a little bit about how rough work was during the month of December, during Vlogmas. Again, I can't get into a ton of specifics, but what I can say is between December and January, we laid off over 200 people and we went through a massive reorganization. For me personally, that meant I had to say goodbye to a very valued, not just team member, but human being from my team. So we lost one person and my title changed in a not promotion type way. On paper, it looks like a demotion, but not because of performance. And I lost a hefty chunk of my salary. So that all sucked. And my office is also my craft room. This is the corner, I'm looking at my desk right there and I have my work computer, but I also have my personal computer over there. So when I record down here in my office. And honestly, for the last few months, I've been logging out of work and I haven't really wanted to spend time in my office during January and February. So that's the work piece of things. I was sick, like everyone else was sick for a solid week, barely could get out of bed. It wasn't the flu. It wasn't COVID. Still don't know what it was, but it kicked my ass. And then once I kind of got over that, I just had this cough that would not quit. Again, I know I'm not the only one. Everyone's been sick. So that knocked me out of commission for a little bit. And then, there's just the state of the world that we live in right now has been so much. And my brain is very much right or wrong, like this or that. It's either all in or it's all out. My brain does not function well with ambiguity. It does not like gray areas. It does not like half efforts. It's like we're either hyper fixating and we are 100% in every way we possibly can be, or we're out. That's just how my brain works. And so I'm not a doom scroller. My Instagram feed is very curated at this point to be yarn, spinning, dyers, cats, corgis, birds lately. Not sure when that happened. I have a lot of friends who are like really into birds, like bird watching and photography. I have a friend who is a falconer. Is that the right word for it? She hunts with red-tailed hawks that she traps. She traps a bird each season, raises it to adulthood, hunts with it, and then releases it back to the wild up in upstate New York. A lot of people I know are very into birds. I don't really love birds, except lately I kind of do. I now have a Instagram, like a saved collection in my Instagram of, it's just called birds, and it's mostly birds. It's mostly one account, and it's mostly birds singing. This one bird in particular, this bird's name is Augie, and Augie likes to sing Bitty Bitty Bum Bum by Selena, and it brings me joy. So, but anyway, I don't seek out information and news on Instagram. I do that elsewhere. I will share things that people post. If you follow me on Instagram, you're probably sitting there and going, your Instagram is pretty damn political. I know that because I share a lot of stuff. But when I'm scrolling Instagram, I'm just looking at things I like. And my friends also, did you all know, can I share this on my iPad? Surprisingly, few people I know actually know you can do this. If you open your, just hit myself in the face. If you open your Instagram and you click on Instagram at the top, on a phone, it'll say, there's a few options. Click following, and on the iPad it says friends. So if you do that, it will only show you the people you follow in chronological order. Like, you know how it used to be? So that is the only way I look at people's posts on Instagram, is I go into the app, I click where it says Instagram at the top, I click on following, and I look at just the people I'm following. So I'm not seeing any sponsored posts. So yeah. So I'm not doom scrolling. That was a long way of saying that. But I'm struggling with the idea that, you can't be 100% engaged and involved all the time. The whole idea of you need to take breaks, you need to rest so that you can, recharge yourself for the fight. But where my brain struggles and my heart struggles with that is that there's so many people who can't take a break. And it reminds me of when my sister was sick. 10 years ago, my sister was diagnosed with glioblastoma, which is an incredibly aggressive form of brain cancer. She was diagnosed on June 19th of 2015, and she died on November 14th of 2015, so less than 5 months later. And during that time, my mom and I were her primary caregivers. And I so badly, I wanted to just quit my job or take a leave of absence and just be with her 100% of the time. But I was the only one working out of the three of us. We needed my income, and I needed to take breaks. Mom and I would take turns relieving each other. And I know that that was the right thing to do. But at the same time, my sister couldn't take a break from having cancer. So now when I think about all the people being affected by ICE, by the cost of living, by, people dealing with food insecurity or housing instability, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get so emotional. But I think it's important to talk about, what we're living through right now. And so many people can't take a break. So the idea of taking a break to me, when I live this life of ultimately significant privilege, is something I struggle with. So during the winter months, and it was so cold this winter, and it just felt so dark and so cold and like it was never going to end, and I just withdrew. I wasn't even watching podcasts. Like, even that just was like, wasn't giving me the same enjoyment that it used to. I actually have been watching on YouTube. I found a channel that is just clips from All My Children. I was going to say old episodes of All My Children, but every episode of All My Children is an old episode because it's not on anymore. I started watching All My Children in middle school, and I recorded it every day through college. And my favorite character was Brooke. And there is a channel on YouTube that is nothing but clips and storylines of that character, Brooke. So I think I started with 1987, like each year is a playlist. And I made it to 93. That's how much I've been watching it. All I've been watching lately is All My Children, The Pit, and Shrinking. If you watch either of those two shows and you want to talk about it, let me know, because I will talk about them for hours and how much I love every single character on those shows. But anyway, so it's been a while. Lately, over the course of the past few weeks in March, I have felt like parts of me kind of coming back to life. And that might sound so lame, but that's the best way I know how to describe it. So making plans with friends again, being social. I went and got a curly haircut, and now I'm on this curly hair journey where I only wash my hair 2 or 3 times a week, and it's never been healthier. Yeah, so we went to our first Phillies game. I'm on spring break this week, so we went to our first Phillies game this week of the season. We went up to New York City to see Jen Colella perform, who I love. If you don't know who that is, she was in the original Broadway cast of Come From Away, played Captain Beverly Bass. She's awesome. Making plans for spring and summer. I have really exciting travel plans for the summer, but let's just jump into talk about some projects, because otherwise we're going to be here forever. And I'm just seeing it's 14 minutes in and I'm still not talking about a single thing related to knitting. If you're still here, thank you. We're going to get into the good stuff now. A few projects I just wanted to show pictures of real quick because I don't have them here with me. I didn't feel like running around the house and grabbing things. One I don't even have because it was a present for my mom. So a few FOs I did want to just highlight. I made my mom her annual pair of Christmas socks, and they turned out lovely. The yarn was from June Price. June Price Fiber Arts. She was a vendor at Knitter's Day Out in Pennsylvania, and I took my mom there with me and let her pick out her yarn for her socks this year. I do make her socks every year. So I used the Easy as Pie socks by Carly Perrins for my mom's socks, and it's just a toe up, a little bit of texture, and they fit my mom really well. So that's the pattern I always use for her. Brent, for his Christmaka knit this year, I made him a Snuggle is Real cow by Maxim Sear, or Max the Knitter. And this was something he asked me for after I made myself one. So I made his a little bit shorter, but the yarn I used, the main color, the dark like charcoal gray, is actually called Graphite. It was from Heathered Handmaids in her simple sock base. And then I used ZZ Textiles nylon sock in the colorway Collins for the first contrast color. And then for the second contrast color, the Surrey, for the lining on the inside and the I-cord, I used Woolberry Fiber Co. Berry Surrey in the colorway Sweatshirt. So he really loves it. And it's going to be great for him in the winter months when he's walking around the city, because he goes into Philly twice a week for work. I did finish my Advent socks from Woolens and Nosh. This year I did a Fleagle heel, and it worked really well with the stripes not breaking up the stripes. I cast on 48 stitches, did a Turkish cast on, did a gusset, and then a Flegel heel, which I pulled from Adrian Mowry's Bear Paw Socks pattern. I did have to adjust the number slightly because it wasn't the same stitch count that I was using. And then I just did 2x2 ribbing for the cuff and a stretchy bind off. And the last thing I want to show that I don't have with me are my sailor slippers. So I did make myself a pair of sailor slippers. This pattern is by Annie Germain or Annie Sews. Apparently there's been some controversy about this pattern or a crochet version of this pattern. I'm not sure what happened. I have some screenshots saved to remind myself to go back and watch it. But I ordered the yarn that the pattern called for. I got Drops Snow, and I got the colorways Midnight Shadow, North Sea, Marshmallow, which is like the natural cream color, and then orange. So I did, this one shows, I did the dark blue for the sole, and then the cream and this like sagey color for the stripes, and then the orange for the I-cord around the opening. Here's what they looked like before felting. And then I put them in the washer. I think I ultimately ended up washing them 3 times. The first 2 times I put them in a garment bag and they just did not felt much at all. So the 3rd time I just throw them in on their own and wish them luck, and they came out pretty well. They're still a little big. Like I could probably put them through one more time to get them to fit a little bit better, but I actually really like how they feel oversized. They keep my feet warm, but my feet don't sweat in them. They're not like touching my feet too much, so they're irritating them. 10 out of 10. One of my favorite things I think I've ever made myself. Wore them every day from like January to March. So that brings us to what I'm wearing. Also, like all over the place, I am keeping a knitting journal this year. More like a project journal. This one is from Knit California. This is the undated one. So it's pretty much just, it has a calendar in the front and kind of like a calendar at a glance, which I'm just using this to keep track of test dates, like start and end dates for test knits that I'm doing or fiber events that I'm traveling to. Project at a glance, yarn and fiber purchases. I have not been keeping up with that. And then it goes into these like month and weekly overviews. I started strong, didn't really keep it up. But the part I really love is the section called project pages. And I have been keeping up with this. So I've got the projects I just shared, the Snuggle is Real Cow, my mom's Christmas socks, my Advent socks, and the sailor slippers. So I'm just going to go in order no, I'm not, because I want to talk about what I'm wearing. Okay. What am I wearing? This is called the Lounge Room Raglan. This is a pattern that I test knit for Amy Scher of Amy Scher Makes, using their new yarn exclusive to Amy Scher Makes. So this yarn is called Comfort Silk Linen. It is 400 yards to 100 grams. It is a fingering weight. It is 50% merino wool, 25% linen, and 25% mulberry silk. This yarn is the most comfortable yarn I have ever knit with for my body. I have extreme tactile sensitivity and sensory processing issues. And this yarn I can wear without constantly pulling at it or trying to adjust it or feeling itchy. It is light, it is drapey, and it blocks beautifully. And it is also a joy to work with. It's not splitty. I cannot recommend this yarn enough. It is reasonably priced. For this project, I did receive 100% yarn support, for which I just greatly appreciate and thank Amy Scher and the Amy Scher team for offering that to me. And then Mia of the Knit and Grace podcast, who is also a member of the Amy Scher Makes team, did a one-on-one sweater fit consultation with me to help me plan out exactly what size to make and what modifications I needed to make for my body. So I knit the size I, that is the next to biggest size, and I added 2-inch bust darts. I used a US 3 needle to get gauge. I think the pattern calls for a 4. My pre-blocking gauge was 30 stitches to 4 inches. My block gauge was 26 stitches to 4 inches, which was the pattern gauge. So I went down a needle, but I did the appropriate size because I matched gauge with that needle. My row gauge did not match. It actually didn't change after blocking. My row gauge was smaller than was called for. So I did have to knit longer to get the length that I wanted. After doing the top, I knit 11 rounds before starting my bust starts. I did do 2-inch bust starts. I did a total of 15 inches for my body before starting the curved hem. And then it binds off with an I-cord. And I used a US 2.5 for the I-cord. For the ribbing, for the sleeves, and for the neck, I went all the way down to a US 1 to really pull them in. I think I did a 2 or 2.5 the first time, and for the first sleeve, and it was too loose. And it's still a little generous, but it was even more, kind of almost like it flared out. So I went all the way down to a 1, and I only did 5 rounds of ribbing for each of them. I just wanted just enough to pull it in, but I didn't want thick ribbing. And I did the same thing with the neckline, very thin. The raglan is here. I'll show you the curved hem. Don't say anything about my jogger pants. But so this is the curved hem with the I-cord. I love this shirt so much. I'm so proud of it. I have worn it so much since. The color is incredible. Just great pattern, great yarn, great support throughout the test knitting process. I did not finish quite in time. Again, because I was test knitting this during a tough few months. So I did not quite meet the deadline. But it was just a joy to work on from start to finish. I used 4 skeins, almost exactly 4 skeins of yarn for this. All right, now we'll go in order. So 2 spins I want to share. I'm not going to open these up. I can't remember. I don't think I shared these. I've done a lot of spinning during the last few months. It has been what my brain and my hands are craving. I can zone out in a way when I spin that I can't do when I'm knitting. And it's what I've been craving. So these are 2 spins from Witchfire Fibers. These are both 100% American Rambouillet. I am discovering I don't love spinning Rambouillet. Just not my favorite. I'll talk about what is fast becoming my favorite in a minute. This color is called the Witching Hour. And this is Dry Dock, which is a very popular colorway of Jess's. So I did these both. These are I did fractal 2-plies. I think this one was first. So you can see, there's some thick and thin bits, but overall, I'm pretty pleased. And then this one I did after. So this one's a little bit better, but again, still, there's a blob there. It's not focusing. There we go. But here's a good section. I love them both. Can't wait to knit with them. Don't know what I'm going to make with them, but very excited. And then my next spin, and I am going to open this one up. This was a, let's see. Oh, real quick. I cast this on January 10th. I finished it and blocked it on February 22nd, but then I finally did the neckline on March 25th. Okay. Those two spins I just showed you, this one I actually started on December 15th, finished on January 3rd, and then the dry dock spin, I started on January 6th, and I finished it on January 14th. This next spin is my favorite spin to date. This was a braid from Yarn Jam. The colorway is called 80s Baby, and it is 100% natural Shanico, which is my new favorite fiber to spin. I started this spin on January 28th, and I finished it on February 6th. I split it in half once, vertically, like string cheese. And on the first bobbin, I split it in half one more time and just did end to end. On the second bobbin, I split it into 4 pieces and did those end to end. And I wrote in my journal, this was my most enjoyable and consistent spin to date. So we are going to open this one up so that you can see all those, is this focusing? Yeah. All those colors. I have been holding on to this just so I could share it on the podcast before I cast it on into something. But I'm so excited to work on this. I don't know what it's going to become. It could be a really fun jaunty maybe. Because there's so many different colors in here. I'm not sure what I would choose for a contrast color for this. But if you have ideas, let me know. It feels so good. It's so soft and it spins so beautifully. Team Shanico for life. I will wrap this up later. And then my most recent spin is my first ever 3-ply. And this was a big one. So let's see. So I started this on February 10th, and then I finished it on March 9th. I ended up with 2 skeins of 3-ply yarn, about 281 grams. And then I have this little baby skein of about 44 grams of just 2-ply, 2 of the braids. I had a lot left over after finishing the 3rd braid. So bobbin 1 was the light, like cream color. That was the colorway Impossible from Little Fiber Co. Rambouillet. And then the second one was Maitake, like the mushroom, which is the brown color. And that was also Little Fiber Co. Rambouillet. And then the third bobbin was a variegated colorway called Under the Sea from Hello Lavender, which had blues and some cream and some goldish brown. So I ended up with these 2 skeins. I am so happy with these. Like, spinning 3-ply was so much fun. I love how the yarn looks. I'll open up one of them. I don't know how many yards I have here, but I do know that this is some of my finest, not in like quality, like finest, but thinnest yarn that I've spun, which considering it's a 3-ply makes me super happy. And I've decided this is going to be a jaunty for Brent. And I'm really excited to cast this on. I think now that I've shown this, this may actually end up being my first hand spun that I work with because I want to see how it looks all spun up. So those are all my finished spins. I've been spinning a lot. I do have a spin in progress. It is currently on my wheel, and I don't know what I did with the box of all the fiber, but this is Lauren of Little Fiber Co. did a fiber advent last December called, I think it was called Gaudy and Glittering, or Glittering and Gaudy, inspired by old vintage style Christmas ornaments. So I am doing another 3-ply spin for this. The advent is 8 different 1-ounce bumps of fiber, and it goes in this gradient from yellow to orange to deep red into purple and blue, deep blue, and then ends with green. So I am almost done with the first third on the first bobbin. So that's what I have right now. And so the way that I split these up, I cannot take credit for. I took my inspiration from, there we go. I took my inspiration from Erin of Carbon and String. If you enjoy spinning, you should look her up on Instagram because her spinning is gorgeous. I purchased my Advent box from Lauren. It was a leftover in-stock box. She put them up for sale, and then I picked it up from her in person at, it was like a craft market in South Philly. So I prepped the fiber on March 4th, and then I started spinning it on March 19th. This has been on hold because my tension thread broke again, and I had already tied it once because it broke before, and then it was too short to tie again. So I tried some other cotton thread, and that broke twice. I tried fishing wire, which worked really well, but made the most awful sound that I couldn't handle it. So I have, I should have brought it downstairs. I ordered 1.8 millimeter paracord, and I'm going to try that and see how that works. So I haven't spun for about a week now, and I miss it. But this is the first bobbin, which is just, so I took each 1 ounce bump and split it into 3. So bobbin 1 is just a third of each in order from days 1 through 8. Bobbin 2 is going to be the second third of each bump, but I took each of those and split them in half. And I'm going to go days 1 through 8 and then 8 through 1. For bobbin 3, that third was split into 4. So they're really thin, like almost like pencil roving. And for that bobbin, it's going to go days 1 to 8, 8 to 1, 1 to 8, 8 to 1. And again, can't take credit for this. Erin of Carbon and String. So almost done the first bobbin. I will finish that once I put this paracord on and give that a try. And as long as that works okay, I think I'm going to fly through the next 2 bobbins. This is 100% Rambouillet. Again, I don't love spinning Rambouillet. It's mostly when I'm spinning larger, like thicker, wider chunks of it. I have a feeling the second and third bobbins, because they're split more, are going to be much more enjoyable. But Shanico, man, is where I'm gonna, Shanico or Merino, anything other than Rambouillet, I think is my future in spinning. So, okay, so that is all the spinning. So let's talk whips. I will show this first. Oh, come on. There we go. So first up, I have what I'm calling my fake Fair Isle socks. So this is Regia sock yarn, which, you know, hello, blast from the past, although they're still making it. But I have the ball band here. So this is Regia's design line, 4-ply. And it's the line of colorways inspired by Arn and Carlos. And it looks like this. So I call it fake Fair Isle because it's supposed to simulate like a Fair Isle pattern. I will never be a Fair Isle colorwork knitter. I don't enjoy colorwork a ton, and that level of colorwork, while I think it's gorgeous and I appreciate others who do it, I personally don't have an interest in doing it. But this yarn does all the work for you. So again, it's not Fair Isle. Like, to call it Fair Isle would be insulting. It is not. It's just a really cool striped patterning yarn. This colorway is number 03655. And so I just did Turkish cast on, increased to 64 stitches. Magic loop, 32 on each. I did a gusset and heel flap, the reverse of a heel flap and gusset, because we're going toe up. I didn't worry about, changing the striping or anything. I didn't do any color management. And then I did, I think, 10 rows of 2x2 ribbing at the top with a stretchy bind off. So the first sock is done, and the second sock, which I have in this little drawstring bag, which I think I got this from Woolberry Fiber Co. P.S. These are my favorite kind of project bags ever. Because I can shove them into anything, a purse, a backpack, my work bag. Around the house, all of my whips I carry around in this giant tote bag that Brent got me from Heathered Handmaids. And I just carry the whole bag with me. And then I have multiple projects to choose from. But here's where I am on the second sock. So this is purse knitting, movie theater knitting. We went to see Project Hail Mary last week, and I did a lot of that other sock in the theater for that. You guys, we went to a sensory-friendly movie theater. They kept the lights on a little bit, and the sound was softer, and it was life-changing. I don't know if we'll find out later tonight, because we're going back to see Project Hail Mary in a regular theater tonight. And I'm really worried it's going to be too loud, but it's such a good movie, that we both want to see it again in a more like IMAX experience. So I did wind off a good amount of yarn so I could start with the same little bit of red here, like I did on the first sock. So they should match, but other than that, no color management around the heel. Just didn't break the yarn at all, just kept going. And then I do have another sock whip that started as a test knit, and unfortunately the test window has ended. The pattern has been published though, so good for all of you. This is called Micro Stripes, and it is from a larger collection of sock patterns by Carly Perrins of Northwoods Knit Co., my favorite sock pattern designer in the world. Every collection she does, she usually releases her socks patterns in collections of 3, and for every collection she does toe up and cuff down. And when you test for her, she gives you both collections at the end of the test. So this is done. As you can see, this is called Micro Stripes. You have your main color, and you're doing slip stitches to carry it up, and then these little broken stripes in a contrast color. This is the first sock, so I have not gotten super far on this. But the yarn that I'm using, the main color is from Lola Bean Yarn Co., and it is the 3-bean salad base, which is 75% merino, 15% cashmere, and 10% nylon. Excuse me. It is a sport weight base, and the colorway is Ashes. And it looks like this. And then my contrast color is from Primrose Yarn, which is a Pennsylvania based yarn dyer Do they have a mill? I'm not sure. Yeah, locally mill spun. Hand dyed in York, Pennsylvania. So this is the Homestead Sport base. It is a 2-ply sport, 250 yards to about 75 grams. This colorway is actually 2 colorways kind of like combined. The first one is Ghost Town. The second one is Good Vibes. And it looks like this. I have been doing some pretty substantial yarn management with this because the color repeats, they're pretty long. So I've already wound off 2 sections so that I can get to more of the colors. So I've wound off that. And then we're going to be going into, it looks like blue and then some pink and purple. I have no idea what I'm going to do for the second sock. I might just not care about them matching and keep going. Or I have those little bits that I wound off, so I could use those and try to match. We'll see. Whatever happens, happens. Okay. So those are my socks. I'll share, I have made a little bit of progress on Brent's Finest Kind, but not much. And now that the weather's warmer and he's not going to be able to wear it, until the fall, I've kind of lost my mojo on this one. But I did get to the point where I split for front and back. So we're just working on that and doing some shaping and decreases. This is a bit of a slog, I'm not going to lie. This is Finest Kind is a pattern by Alicia Plummer, and I am so excited to finish it because I know it's going to look so good on him. Everyone who makes it, it looks so good on them. It's not super enjoyable to make through no fault of Alicia Plummer. Like, I think she is a beautiful designer, but it's double maul stitch. And whoever said this goes fast, it doesn't go fast for me. And the shaping on the back just required too much brain power. Like, it's not hard, but my brain has just not been up for super challenging things during the last few months. So this will, I don't know if I'm going to work on this. I probably should work on it sooner rather than later. I don't want my gauge to change too much, but not in a hurry to finish this. The yarn is Cascade 220 non-superwash. So it's a worsted weight yarn. Brent picked the color, I think it's red wine, heather or something like that. Hopefully it'll be finished before the end of summer. How about that? That sounds reasonable. The project that has consumed me lately, especially since I haven't been spinning for the last week or so, is another test knit. Let me find a picture of this. This is a pattern by Samantha Guerin. It is currently in testing, and it is called the Early Light Pullover. So, come on. There we go. So this is what it looks like with 3/4 length sleeves. You can either do 3/4 length or you can do short sleeve. I was just messaging with Samantha yesterday or the day before, and she asked me what sleeve I was going to do, and I still have not made up my mind. I love the idea of the 3/4 sleeves. I think my body will be more comfortable if I just do it in short sleeves, but I really love how it looks with the 3/4. This is knit in the same yarn as this. It is the Amy Sure Makes Comfort Silk Linen. Here is the band. And this colorway is Forget Me Not, which happens to be the same exact yarn and color that Samantha used for her sample. This colorway, by the way, is Jasmine Tea, in case you want to get it. So I did not swatch for this because I just knit with this yarn and had swatched for it and made this. So I know what my gauge is with this yarn. But Samantha Guerin's gauge is a little bigger, I think, than Amy Scher's gauge. And my gauge, no, I'm usually looser. I'm using a US 4 for this, which is, oh my gosh, I can't find it. Pattern calls for a US 3. I am using a US 4 so that I could get as close to gauge as possible. I'm knitting the largest size of this. It is a round yoke, my first ever round yoke. And it has this lovely lacy cabled pattern at the top and then just goes into stockinette. So I have completed the yoke. I have my sleeve stitches on hold and I am cruising through the body. I think I'm at the point where I'm getting close to starting the ribbing. This is what I have left of my third skein of yarn. I have 5 total, so I think I have enough if I want to do the 3/4 sleeves. So what I think I'll do is I'll finish this and then I'll put the body stitches on hold and maybe work on the sleeves and then try it on a few more times to see how long I want it to be and what I want to do with the sleeves. It looks so good on. I've tried it on a few times. It fits beautifully. I can't wait to block this and really not stretch out, but really let this pattern relax and really show itself off. The pattern is beautifully written. I've had no issues so far. I don't know when it's coming out yet, but when it does, I will be sure to share because I think I'm going to get a lot of wear out of this, especially because I already know I love how this yarn feels. So this is the Early Light Pullover by Samantha Guerin. And again, can't recommend it enough. So when it comes out, be sure to grab it. Okay. That's everything I'm working on. Actively working on. I have some other whips that are just kind of in the background. 2 blanket whips. I have a jaunty I started, but now I'm more excited to do this other jaunty. So I do have some acquisitions, almost exclusively fiber, because that's just where I am right now. So let's see. At that craft market, that I went to where I got the leftover advent from Lauren of Little Fiber Co. I also got, actually, I think I showed these during Vlogmas, but if you didn't watch Vlogmas, I have 4 of these from Kira Wiggins. This base is, she calls Sur, S-U-R. It's 70% Romney wool, 30% Surrey alpaca. These are 50 gram, would we call these bats? The colorway is salmon, and I have 4 of these. And then I also got 4 braids of fiber from Amy Scher Makes. The colorway is called Blackberry Crumble. It is 62.5% Polworth and 37.5% Viscose Nep Blend. It is beautiful. The base purple color is beautiful, but then it's got these neps in it. And it ranges from like yellow to red to kind of orangey. And it is so soft. And I have 4 of these. I did not get them all out, but so I have a total of 16 ounces of this. So I think this will be a garment spin for sure. I have a couple of other, this was a one-of-a-kind braid that I got from Viking Fiber Co. One-of-a-kind 140. And this is 100% Corriedale combed top. Non-superwash roving, US grown and milled, 4 ounces. So I've not spun Corriedale yet, so that'll be fun to see. Love these colors. And then this is, oh gosh, it's so soft. This is Shanico Silk Fiber from Treehouse Knits. And this is the colorway Omega Nebula. It is one of the Traveling the World Advent colors from her Advent this past December. 80% Shanico wool, 20% mulberry silk, 20.4 microns. It is so soft. The colors are beautiful. And I think you can probably see the sheen of the silk in there. So I've never spun with silk before, so that'll be exciting. And then I have this braid of 100% Falkland wool, 20 to 22 microns, in the colorway Fishes from Hello Lavender. And this is from, I think this was leftover in stock from the Bear collection. So, and then, oh gosh, more fiber. Yarn Jam did their, podcaster collection this year. And the podcasters that Trisha worked with for this year's colorways were Emily of the Botanical Knitter, Mia of Knit and Grace, Taji of Tangles in Starlight or Stitches in Starlight, depending on where you're viewing them, and then Rachel and Renee of Table 10 podcast. I ordered 2 braids on the Heather Gray base. So Trisha offered it in both just the regular Shanico base and then the gray, Heather Gray Shanico base. So these are both 100% natural Shanico, which I already know I love spinning. This is the colorway inspired by Emily, the Botanical Knitter. It is called Winter Pines. I apologize for the glare, but it's like these grays and greens. I don't want to take it out of the bag. So hopefully you can see that okay. And then this is the colorway inspired by Mia, and it is called Graceful Blooms. And these are going to be a combo spin. I'm going to spin these together. And then the other acquisitions I have are from the Philly Yarn Crawl. I've done the Philly Yarn Crawl. This is the 3rd year now that the Philly Yarn Crawl has been going on. The first year I went to a lot of stores. I don't remember how many. The second year I went to every single store, 17 of them in 3 days. Brent drove me all over Eastern Pennsylvania to do that. This year I just picked, I think I picked 5. And I said to Brent, here are the 5 I want to go to. And he put together a route. So we went to the Longest Yarn and I got a cone of the Holst Super Soft. And the colorway is Truffle. And the cone has, I forget how much. It doesn't say. There's a lot of yarn on here. But I don't know if you can tell. It's got more colors in it than it looks from afar. It's one of those like, oh, okay, it looks kind of like a brown gray, but then, you know, when you get up closer to it, you can really see the depth of the color. So this will be a garment of some sort. No plans for it yet, but can't beat the price for that much yarn, especially to knit garments for my body. We also went to Wild Hand, where I got more fiber from Kira Wiggins. So I got 2 of her rainbow taupe on 50% BFL, 40% South American wool, and 10% viscose. It is so pretty. So I got 2 of those. That's 200 grams of those. And then this was the show colorway for the, not show, but the Yarn Crawl colorway, Cappuccino Rose. And this is 100% Polworth. And it's super pretty. I have a couple, I think one of either the Hello Lavender or the Treehouse Knits may become a combo spin with this. So that's what I got from Wild Hand, along with just some fun Like I got a sticker, not a sticker, I got a pin. They redid their logo. Of course, now I'm not going to be able to find it. Sorry. They redid their logo. I thought I bought a pin. I know I did. I can't find it, but here's a matchbook with their new logo. It's super cute. We also went to a new store on the Yarn Crawl called My Dye Garden Studio, and they specialize in naturally dyed fibers. So I got one skein of their silky merino and mulberry silk. Recommended needle sizes 4 to 6, 100 grams, approximately 175 yards. So a heavy worsted, or even Aran, approaching Aran. I don't know the yardage of Aran, but I also got this. All I know is it's Surrey alpaca. I don't know the colorway or any information, but it was already caked up and it was a great price. So I got these two to hold together, and they are both naturally dyed. We also went to Home Sewn in Media, and the main reason I wanted to go there is because Lauren of Little Fiber Co. actually works there now part-time. So she was working during the Yarn Crawl, so I got to go say hi to her, and just picked up a couple of just some small things. I got a spiral cable needle because I have not been loving my straight cable needles. I got a sticker that says there is no guilt in pleasures, because I hate the phrase guilty pleasure. If it brings you pleasure, there should be no guilt. Just some point protectors and this adorable little acorn. And inside it just has these little round stitch markers. And as I was working on the test knit I'm doing for Samantha Guerin, I was thinking, oh, I just need some like basic small circles to mark lace repeats that don't dangle or hang or get in the way of anything. So that's why I got those. Okay. It is a disaster in my craft room now, in my craft corner of my office. I feel like I just did a lot of talking, and I know I did because it's now 59 minutes into this. So if you're still here, thank you so much. Excuse me. In order to make this as easy for myself as possible and ensure that this episode actually makes it online, I'm doing 0 editing, but I will put links in the show notes after it uploads, because it's easier for me to do that on YouTube than it is because I can copy notes from previous episodes and get the format, and this is not important. So, but if you have any questions, just let me know. Hopefully, now that I've ripped the Band-Aid off and recorded this episode, I'll get back into a flow of uploading more regularly. Just a quick shout out to Jeff of Losing My Knit. He and I hosted a make-along, which I haven't talked about here because the entire thing happened while I was not recording episodes. We started in January and we ended on March 28th. It was called the More to Love Mal, and it was a celebration of size inclusivity. So as long as participants knit a garment that was a size inclusive pattern, fair game. So we accepted whips, we accepted any type of garment, any type of craft. It just had to be a garment and had to be size inclusive. So we have finished that make along. We need to draw our final prizes for both finished objects and works in progress. We have incredible prizes. We have gift cards from Explorer Knits and Fibers and Frankie Gray Fibers. We have a sweater fit consult with Kim McBride Evans. We have a project bag from Jeff secured that prize, and I cannot remember the name. I'll put it below. I'm so sorry. It's a really cool project bag. I will definitely put a link below. And then Kevin and Ray, Needles at the Ready, donated a custom dyed sweater quantity of yarn. That's our big finished object prize. And then we have patterns from Rebecca Clow, Andrea Mallory, Tori Yu, Alicia Plummer, and several other designers. So hopefully this will be something maybe we do each year. But I've got to get in touch with Jeff and decide how we want to do our drawings for those prizes. If we want to do an Instagram live or a YouTube live or something, we'll see. But thank you for being here. Those of you who already have subscribed and are coming back, thank you for coming back. Thank you for continuing to join me for these fun, casual hangouts. If you are new and you haven't subscribed, I would love if you would consider doing so. I think we're at 295 subscribers. Oh my gosh. I have to pick a winner from my last episode in November to send yarn to, because I said if we hit 200 subscribers, I would do a giveaway, and we did. And people left comments, and I have to pick a winner from that. So I'll make sure to do that before next episode. And then, hey, if we get over 300, I'll give out more yarn. Why not? Thank you, though, for being here. I hope you are taking the best possible care of yourself and looking out for each other in whatever way that works for you, however that looks for you, in whatever capacity you have. And we'll get through this. We'll get through it, y'all. Thanks for being here.